Okay, so we're being recorded. So I'm going to share my screen next. And when you're able to see my screen, please let me know that you can see my screen. Okay, as we wait for my slide to come up, I want to hear from us. How has the journey been so far? Since we're in mentorship session, I'd love to hear how the journey has been for you as regards mentorship and all of that. So if you would like to share your experience so far, you could just raise your hand and speak. So in no particular order, just raise your hand and speak. You have, you want to share how the journey has been for you so far. I would really love to hear from you guys. How has the mentorship session been? How has training been? You know, yeah, Joanne, you can go ahead and unmute and speak. Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening, Ma. Okay, so I would say I'm most especially grateful that the courses are pretty flexible. I would say like because some of the courses I didn't get to learn them that particular week I was supposed to learn them. So I'm just imagining a case where I couldn't access those things after that week. It would have just been a complete waste. So I'm really grateful that the thing was flexible and honestly it has actually broadened my mind. I think LinkedIn because I had issues with LinkedIn, right? I my account was restricted for a while. I think I mentioned it to you, and I had to get my NIN into like the plastic format. Still, after that, they still had to take a couple of days to activate it, and finally was activated, and I was just learning the ropes of it and everything. And you see works and you'll be like, ah, this person is are these people human beings? Like they've done the same thing. So like the mentorship class has really been really interesting. I've not been at all of them. I've tried to want to keep up, but some of them were not really meeting up with me. I was not also meeting up with them. But so far I've been able to actually pick a lot of things, and I'm grateful for that.
That's lovely. Thank you for that feedback, Joanne. Good to hear your experience, and we are rooting for you all the way as you are transitioning into the internship. You'll find it even more interesting, and you're encouraged to, put all hands on deck, you know, ensure that you meet up with everything that you'll be asked to do during your internship so that it's like the icing on the cake. All right, this is just the preamble. So lovely. Do we have any other person that would love to share before we get into what we have? I'd love to hear from us, at least three of us. You could just raise your hand and speak, please. No other person. Ruth, hi, Annabelle, Domotimi, Covenant. You have nothing to say? How has your journey been so far? That's the question. I would love to hear from you.
Okay, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Uh, the mentorship was very nice experience. Although the the course was like confusing me when when I was starting it. So, but I started like knowing what is going on there after I think the last one, the last class, yeah, the last course. And then I said, oh, is it this thing that they are talking about? Oh my God. So I'm so excited about that. So I was like, maybe during my internship I will learn more, but I'm still a little bit confused. But let's just take the ones that we have now. It's just like when I just finished doing my virtual assistant. I was like a little bit, I was totally confused. Not until until when I did the ALX program. It was flowing like I was like, oh, thank God though. But during the experience, when you will be doing the work things, you'll be like, is it all these things that they are going to do? This thing is not all these things that they teach. Oh, they did not teach me this one. Oh. You understand? So, but I thank God for everything, and it's good to adapt. If you know how to, like, if you are a fast learner, you can adapt at any time. You understand? So, thank you all, and I appreciate your teaching and everything. May God bless. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you for that feedback, Ruth. And I'm happy that you're growing in your learning. It gives us so much joy to see that you are grasping things that we are providing you with. So well done. And we're also rooting for you as you take on the new chapter of this journey. Well done. So I see Covenant's hand up. You could go ahead and speak, please.
All right, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Covenant. We can hear you. You can go on, please. Oh, Covenant, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you anymore. I think that's a network issue.
Good evening.
Okay, great. Yes, we can hear you now. Hi, Covenant. Can you hear me? You can go ahead and speak. That's network issues. Let's just move on. Is there any other person that would love to? Okay, I see Annabelle's hand is up. Annabelle, please go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much. Oh, so what I have to say is that I'm grateful, really grateful for this training. And I'm just glad that somehow I've always wanted somebody to literally hold my hands and walk me through a path. And I'm grateful because it has just been, there's like a laid down, should I call it like a roadmap? Because even other times when I try to get involved with digital marketing, it's as if there's a lot. I don't know how to navigate. I don't know what. I don't know where. I don't know what I'm supposed to be studying. I don't know what I'm supposed to be listening to or reading. But this training has helped to structure everything, puts everything in place for me. So I know that after this, there is this. After that, there is the other thing, and I'm so grateful for that. And even though I still don't feel like I'm ready or I'm good enough, but I still encourage myself because sometimes when I look at the people that are doing the same thing and how far they've gone and how they have ideas that are doing so well, I'm like, yo, how do I ever get there? But then I just try to encourage myself and, keep it going. Sometimes I go back to all the slides. Something I've been doing is I just try to always study and make research and just listen to people, because sometimes my head can go blank and I struggle again. But then I go back to listening to people, make research, listen to people, watch interviews, and just try and encourage myself. But so far, I'm grateful. At least I have like a roadmap on how to carry on. And even when you talked about this is the last mentorship, I'm like, oh no, I don't want it to end. But anyway, I'm good and it is well. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you for that lovely feedback, Annabelle. We are really glad that you got value. And yeah, like you said, the learning never stops. You keep learning, you keep evolving. And trust me, you will never feel like you are ready or you are there yet. But, taking that little step, one at a time, at the end of the day, you see the massive progress that you make. So do it scared, do it even if you feel like you're unprepared. That's how you grow and make the impact that you're looking for. So we're not waiting, we're not staying, or we're not waiting or looking for the perfect time. Okay, we're going to create the time for ourselves to move. So I love that feedback, and I'm rooting for you, of course, and every other person as well on the call. We are genuinely rooting for you as usual, and we are glad to have all of you on board. And of course, we'll still meet again during the internship. So we are still together. Just that be a different conversation then. So lovely work, everybody. Covenant, your network tripped off. You could just drop your feedback in the chat box and we can read it from there. And every other person who would love to give a feedback but doesn't want to unmute and speak, you can utilize the chat box. Okay, we'd love to hear from you. So well done, guys. All right, so today's mentorship session is going to be quick. All right, all right, quick and straight to the point. So we're talking about interview preparation. So, like I said, as we started, the goal of all of this at the end of the day, you achieve your goals in your career, which is learning a job, freelancing, upskilling, getting financially stable, whatever the case is. And this particular aspect is something that will help you get there. So for those who are, seeking jobs, so the journey so far, like from LinkedIn optimization to our portfolio building to our CV optimization, and then now it's just a trail, okay, that helps strengthens you as a thought leader in your field, positions you as capable, positions you as the go-to person for recruiters for all jobs. All right. So when you've optimized your LinkedIn, you've worked on your portfolio, you've added your skills, your projects, you've done your CV, and it's looking all prim and proper. All right. And you apply for jobs, or recruiters reach out to you. That the interview is that determining factor. If you're not able to sell yourself properly in an interview, every work that you have done before, that particular step would be wasted. So it's very important that you know how to ace interviews. I've seen, different interviews of people that they come unprepared, their hairs are not, properly put together, they're not in a good environment to, have a proper interview session. So this session is just to enlighten us and just give us those little tips and tricks that just helps us stand out and stand apart in every interview session that we would encounter. All right. So interview preparation. Let's just look at the slide. So they're not just about answering questions, they're about presenting your best self. All right. The goal is to show competence, confidence, and cultural fit for that particular job role that you're applying for. Now, there are three aspects of this particular discussion we're having tonight: the pre interview preparation, then the interview preparation, the interview itself, okay, that means the time or the day you're having the interview, and then the post interview, the things that you need to do before, during, and after the interview. So, this conversation is broken down into those aspects. Now, let's look at the pre interview preparation. The first thing you need to do, amongst every other thing, all right, is to research the company. So in our last mentorship session, we talked about CV optimization and how that you should tailor your CV to fit the job description. Now, when you are preparing for the interview, because if you follow all that you learned, definitely you will land the interview. Preparing for the interview, you want to research about the company. I've had I've seen people with this particular case. They know every other thing. Oh. They answered every other question, but questions about the company that they applied for, they couldn't get it. Why? Because they focused more on landing the job and understanding the company, the environment they were going into. So whenever you see in your email box or whatever that, oh, you have an interview on the 6th of October 2025, the first thing you want to do is to sit down, research the company, go on their website, go to their Instagram, go to their Facebook, go on their social media, look at what they are about, look at what they do, know their mission, their vision, their value. You don't have to know everything, but know the main things, the core things. That when you are asked, you are able to speak confidently and clearly about the company. It shows that you actually took it serious enough to research about them and know about them. All right, understand their products, their services, or the recent achievements that they have. Study the industry, the trends, and their competitors. All right. So when you are asked this simple question during the interview, you're not stuttering, or you don't go ahead and say, "Oh, I couldn't, do my findings about the company." That automatically disqualifies you. They'll look at you like, "Oh, this person is not really serious with this job, processing and all of that." So, guys, let it stick. Research about the company. Then the next thing you want to do is to understand the role that you applied for. Understand the role that you applied for. Don't just jump and say, okay, I'm applying to this, I'm applying to that. You must understand what you're applying for. Read job descriptions carefully. This is something that I really hammered on in the last, mentorship session. If you were not there, you would want to go back to the recording and watch it so that you can follow, the trail that we have been leaving behind. Now, read descriptions very carefully. All right. When you're in the interview, you want to, before the interview, you want to highlight your skills. You can write it down. But what are the things I'm actually very good at? Your skills, your experience, and the tools required for that particular job role. So, guys, remember, every job role, different descriptions, different tools required. All right. You can be applying for a social media management job, maybe 10 social media management jobs, and every one of them requires different experiences, different skills and tools. And you must always, fashion your conversations around those requirements, okay? Then match them with your own strength. All right. So when you study and understand the role, the skills needed, the tools that they highlighted, you will need to match them with your own strength. All right. And then you can move on to the third aspect, which is preparing your story. All right. So in the interview, you need to, create a compelling introduction about yourself because you're going to be asked. So tell us about yourself. At this point, many people will say, okay, my name is Tarela Oti. I am blah, blah, blah years old. I stay in Delta State. I went to the University of Uyo, studied business management. Is that what they really want to know? Most people miss it at this point when they tell them, oh, tell me about yourself. That's not what they want to know. Okay, so we'll learn more about how to answer that question as we progress. Then the next thing is you want to identify 3 to 4 career achievements aligned with the role. So if you have like 3 years of experience or 1 year of experience and you've done a couple of jobs like I advise us to do to volunteer to work with brands and you've done a couple and you see some results, okay, you don't have to say all of it. Say the most significant one, okay, that would keep your audiences interested. So this is like what you do before the interview. You have to prepare for every interview you go for. You have to prepare. All right. You don't just go and wing it. You can't do that. You have to prepare because you need to tailor, your conversation based on the requirements of that role and of the company. Then use the STAR method, situation, task, action, results to structure answers. So in this conversation or in this lecture, we'll be looking at the STAR method. We'll also be looking at the STIT method. All right. So just stay with me. Now, personal presentation. All right. So this one is, of course, when you get onto the interview, what is expected of you? And this is something that I don't need to be telling us. You need to dress properly. You need to dress to fit the industry. If it's remote, like it's a remote interview now, that's when you even need to even ensure that you are looking well treated. All right, your hair looking good, you're wearing a good top. If it's a corporate industry or it's a semi-formal industry, you know how to dress, appropriately to meet the industry. Don't dress, with handless or anything too colorful or anything too casual or too, you know exactly what I mean. So dress appropriately. Dress appropriately. Keep it neat, keep it modest, and keep it professional. All right. I'm not going to dwell much on that. Then if it's physical, you want to pay attention to body language. Okay, if you're gonna give a handshake, let it be firm. It shows that you are confident in who you are, what you are doing, and what you are even there for. Maintain eye contact, guys. I know that you be tense and all of that, but keep your eyes straight. Maintain eye contact and speak to them properly. All right, then smile naturally. You don't want to frown at um your interviewers. Smile, sit upright, and avoid fidgeting. Even if you might be nervous, but avoid fidgeting. Avoid fidgeting. So there's something that might help you, something that helps me. Whenever I'm faced with like a situation that, oh, I'm nervous, I just remind myself that every person, they are all human beings with one head, one two hands, two legs, just like me. Human beings with feelings and emotions. They are not God. Okay, so you need to remind yourself that and just relax. Just be relaxed, be natural. All right. Moving on. So during the interview, tell me about yourself. So these are like common questions that you will be asked in any standard interview, okay? So you want to write this down or look into it more. Now, the first is tell me about yourself, all right? This is something that will occur in almost every interview. They want to know you, all right? Why do you want to work here? Why do you want to work here? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Tell us about a challenge you faced and how you solved it. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? In my first interview, I remember being asked all of these 5 questions. And I believe that is something that these are like the base questions for every interview. So if you're able to ace every of these questions and answer them strategically with the sit and start approach, you will be able to, smash any interview you go into. We'll talk more about it. Now, during the interview, answering tips, okay, for, those questions that we just outlined, be clear and concise. You don't talk too much or share too much because you might just have, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes to, prove your point to your recruiter. Use real life examples. This is something that you should keep at the back of your mind. Give real life cases that, oh, while I was interning at Future, we were asked to do this, and I did it and got this particular result. Okay, real life examples. I worked on this brand in Lagos. They sold skincare products. I was able to craft out a standard copy that they used to run at and brought about 20% increase in revenue. All right, stuff like that. You need to use real life examples. Show enthusiasm and curiosity. So, other than waiting for them to just ask you questions, there will be a point in the interview that the HR personnel or your interviewers will ask you, okay, so do you have any questions for us? Don't sit there and say, no, I don't have any questions. No, that's the time that you want to show that you are curious and actually enthusiastic about the role and joining their organization. So the next thing is ask smart questions like, what does success in this role look like for you? So you ask your recruiters, if I come on board, what does success in this role look like for you? What growth opportunities are here? Okay, what challenges is the team currently facing? It shows that you are enthusiastic about their company and you're not just coming in to get something, that is to maybe get a salary and just make ends meet. We are coming actually with, intention. You're coming with purpose. All right. So yeah, there's this particular aspect of asking smart question is something that is key. For during our Q&A session one time, I think last weekend or previous weekend, I shared an example of how somebody ask a very important question during an interview, and it saved them their entire paycheck for that job role. Okay, so the person had in mind what the person had in mind was not even compared to what the recruiters had in mind. And if the person had not asked that question first, the person would have just, downplayed their whole payment for that job. So you might even want to ask them, oh, what's the budget for this role? If they don't ask you first, or what do you want to be paid and all of that, you want to ask them, okay, what's the budget for this role? What does it look like in terms of remuneration and all of that? Okay. So ask smart questions, guys. All right. So this slide will made available to us. So you want to look through it and gain more knowledge. So now, post-interview etiquette. This particular part, I am passionate when talking about it because it's something that my mentor made me understand the value of when I had my first interview. Okay, when I landed my first job as social media manager, yes. So this is something I did. I didn't even think it was necessary, but she just told me, send them a short thank you email. Okay, send them a short thank you email, that, oh, you enjoyed the interview, you look forward to, all those. I sent the message. In fact, she crafted the email, and all I did was to just send it in. And that's what made the whole difference, guys. All right, the intentionality. It just sets you apart as somebody who is keen to, who pays attention to details, and someone who is actually genuinely interested in the role. So post-interview etiquette, this is something that people actually neglect. After your interview, what do you need to do? The first thing is you want to send a short thank you email. All right, you highlight the key points that you enjoyed discussing during the interview, and then reaffirm your interest in the role. This is what your email should be about after you have done the interview. Highlight the key points that you enjoy discussing, because if you do everything right, you would enjoy the conversation that you have in that interview. You will not be scared of fidgety or all of that. You'll actually enjoy the discussion. So you want to now put that in an email, reaffirm your interest, and send it to them within 24 hours. Okay. Back then, my mentor asked to send it almost immediately, like less than 2 hours. I sent that email. All right. And the next day, I was reached out to. So it's something that, just sets you apart. Most people don't do this because they don't think it's necessary, but you need to always apply this. All right. So as you move on to internship, as you start applying for jobs, as you even, as we start recommending you for roles or suggesting roles to you, you would want to keep all of this at the core. Okay. You want to keep all of this at the core of your mind. All right. There are things to do before your interview, during your interview, and then after your interview. The common mistakes to avoid, guys, if you don't want to arrive late or unprepared. The, in fact, most of the time, people do this second part. They are never prepared for an interview. In fact, they overthink interview sessions that they don't even prepare well for it. It's like 2 hours to the interview. Hey, God, I'm not prepared for my interview. There was a particular interview I witnessed. One of my family members here, she prepared like it was an examination for school. We had sticky notes here and there. She's researched about the company, and if she hadn't done that, she would have not gotten the job because the only questions that she was asked for that interview were questions about the company, such as, oh, what are our core values? You might say, what is my business with your core value? Why am I reading about a company's core value that I've not even landed the job? But you need to, their mission statement, their vision statement, what are they doing at every given time? Okay. So you want to be prepared. And then guys, no late coming. In fact, you should be the one waiting for your recruiters. If it's online, join the meeting 5 minutes before time, 2 minutes before time, 3 minutes before time. Do not join if your interview is 9 p.m. Do not join 9 p.m. You are late. If your interview is 6 p.m., don't join 6 p.m. You're late. Join 5:55, 5:56, and you are good to go. And then you also want to, for remote work, of course, you also want to check for your network, check for lighting, check for your background, check for your network. Very important, network. So it's not that, oh, you're trying to join the meeting 5 minutes before time, then you discover that Airtel does not have network or MTN does not have network. Then you will now miss the whole interview session. So this particular week, in fact, on Wednesday or Tuesday, We're supposed to have an interview with a particular lady. The interview was 2 p.m. The link was sent to her by 2 p.m. And then by 2 p.m. she was not in the meeting. 2:20, 2:50. She didn't even like show up for the interview, and that was how it went by. Then later on, the excuse was, oh, rain fell and there was no I was outside my house, rain was falling and all of that. That person, of course, that person it's not possible that person get that job because we were unprepared. Of course, we were late. All right. There's sometimes that you would join a meeting and then it takes some time for you to, you know how Google Meet works. So you need to always ensure that your network is in tip top shape. All right. It's very, in fact, I recommend that you have more than one networks. Do not, we're in Nigeria. Okay. And for those that are not in Nigeria, kudos. But for those in Nigeria, we know how it is. MTN can just decide to just go out. Airtel can say, oh, no, so you need to have more than one network. Have Airtel, have MTN, have Glow, so you can interchange when one seems to be, malfunctioning, especially for very important times as your interview. All right, so check all those things. Ensure that your data is well subscribed. All of those minor things. All right, they actually show that you are ready and intentional. Then the next thing is you don't want to speak negatively about your past employers. You do not want to speak negatively about your past employer. For instance, you were asked, oh, so I see in your resume that you worked previously as a social media manager at so company. Why did you leave? Don't go ahead and start saying, oh, the environment was toxic. Oh, they did not pay me well. Oh, the boss was just shouting up and down. Don't go ahead and start explaining what's really happened, guys. Do not do that. You don't want to speak negatively about your past employer. All right. It just communicates that if that person can leave the company because of these reasons, why should we employ her here? We should not look out for all those kind of small things. It just puts them off. You want to say this instead. You want to respond and say, I had stuff like, yes, I worked as social media manager at social company. I also later got promoted to being head of this, that. But then I'm currently in my career, I'm currently looking for other growth opportunities that I can explore beyond, what I was offered at my previous role. Simple and short. Do not talk negatively about your employers. Just instead focus on growth opportunities that you are looking and seeking for more growth opportunities and experiences, to help you grow and achieve your career goal. Simple and short. Then do not be robotic. Do not be robotic. Do not memorize your answers. Like I said, be natural, be free. The people talking to you are human beings, whether they are in UK or in US or even in Nigeria. They are all human beings, and they are looking for a solution in you, through you. That's why they want to employ you. So you're actually valuable asset. If you're able to know that, you will not be fidgety and scared and all of that. Be calm, keep the maintain, if permit me to use this slang, maintain speed, all right, maintain it. Don't need to fidget and all of that. My first interview, I understand how it is. I was nervous. I was talking fast and all of that. But as we grow and expand in knowledge, you know that these are the things that actually matter. You don't need to be fidgety. Just calm down and answer naturally. And then forgetting to ask questions. So when your recruiters ask you, "Okay, do you have any questions for us?" Don't say no. Like I have already emphasized, ask smart questions. All right. So final tip before we talk about our final tip, I want to go into the sit and star method. So I'm going to reshare my screen one more time. And then I'll just share my entire screen. So I don't have to go on. All right. So here we are, the sit and star method. So it's in document format, all right, so that I could easily share this with us and we can follow this, pattern to fashion our preparation whenever we are faced with interviews. Okay. So the sit and star method. So just to ensure that you are following me, if this is your first time hearing this particular term, sit and star methods for interview preparation, give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up. But if it's not your first time, give me a heart emoji. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. We have more first timers. Yeah, lovely. Okay, great. So this would be very valuable to you. So if you're faced with any interview, the first thing you want to do is to apply this method when you're preparing. Okay, you don't need to stress your brain too much, guys. Just carry the sit and star method and use it when you are preparing because it basically helps tailor the conversation or answering every question in a very strategic way. So let's look first at the sit method. All right, I'm sure we can all see my screen. So the SIT method helps you organize your self-introduction and professional pitch in interviews. So when you are asked, tell us about yourself, this is the method that you should employ. Okay, so S, just like the word SIT spells, SEAT. S stands for skill. E stands for experience, A stands for achievement, and then T stands for training. Okay, now let's go into it as easily or as clearly as possible. So when you are asked, oh, tell us about yourself, remember the SIT method. Skills. Start by mentioning your skills that are relevant to that role. So because you have done your research before that time, you will know the exact skills that you want to front line when responding to their question on self-introduction. Okay, so start by mentioning your key skills relevant to that role. For example, I have a strong analytical and communication skill. All right. So if you read through the description for every role, you understand the particular skills that are needed. So you want to just fashion that introduction towards, hitting that particular requirement. Then the next thing is experience. All right. Skill, then experience. You want to share your professional background and then relevant experiences. So if you see in this particular method, I did not say, oh, my name is Tarela. I come from Bayelsa State. No. All right. You can go ahead and say, hi, I'm Tarela. I have a strong analytical and communication skill. I have worked in digital marketing for 3 years. Okay. You're sharing your experience. You've worked with over 10 brands, 2 brands, 3 brands in different industries, in beauty, fashion, however the case may be. But share your professional background and experiences. Then the third thing, A, which is achievement. So you want to highlight a few of the measurable accomplishments. Now, if you look at my document, measurable is highlighted here. You want to measure the result or the accomplishment that you had, in those experiences that you were sharing. For instance, I was able to I successfully led a project that increased efficiency by 20%. I was able to craft out a standard copy for marketing that increased sales or revenue by 10%, by 5%. You want to ensure that it is measurable. Okay. Then the fourth thing is training. So conclude with your education, certifications, or relevant training. Remember, only relevant to the job that you are applying for. So for all of you here, of course, you have training, good training in copywriting or digital marketing. You can go ahead and talk about, your certification here with us or the training you had here with us, your internship. Okay, just to fill the whole introduction in a very firm way. All right. Now, why should you use the SIT method? It helps you give a structured, confident, and impactful self introduction without rambling. Now, if you're asked that question from the top of your mind, tell us about yourself in an interview. The first thing that should pop up in your head is the SIT method. S stands for skill, E stands for what, guys? Experience. A stands for achievement, and T for training. So you want to highlight your skill, highlight your experience, the achievements that you had with the experience, and then the training that you have, all right, that just helps you. Now, let's move on to the STAR method, okay? So now, the STAR method is used to answer behavioral interview questions like, tell me about a time that you were faced with a challenge at work. Tell us about a time that blah, blah, blah. Now, the STAR method is what should come to your mind whenever you hear a question that pertains to your behavior at work or on your role. All right. Now, S here stands for situation. S stands for situation. T stands for time. A stands for action and R stands for result. Now, the S here, situation. So now, describe the context or background, okay, that you want to talk about. You say, tell us a time, that you face a challenge at work. So you want to pick a very, distinctive challenge that you were able to, play a good role in. You could have, you could talk about how you leverage your skill to provide a solution or something. But the example I have here is in my previous job, our team was faced with delays in delivering a key project. All right. So in you to relate it to digital marketers, copywriters, basically the key thing for you guys is sales. So you would say, oh, in my previous role, the organization or my team was faced with low turnover monthly. They had deadlines they couldn't meet up with. So that is a problem. All right, you have highlighted highlighted the challenge. Now you go ahead to state the responsibility. That is T for task. State your responsibility in that situation. So if you were the copywriter, if you were the digital marketer, if you were the social media manager, if you were the person running ads, however the case is, you will state your key responsibility in that particular situation. So you go ahead and say, oh, as digital marketer, I was responsible for ensuring that the brand met up with this, that, and that. Then you explain the specific step you took towards solving that problem. That is A for action. So let's go again. S, situation. T, task. A, action. So explain the specific steps you took. So I broke the project into smaller tasks, reassigned workloads, introduced daily check-ins. For a digital marketer, you want to sound like, oh, I reviewed the marketing funnel and ensured that our ads were hitting our right targeted audience or however the case may be. All right. So you state the steps you took and then the result. So share the outcome. And then remember, look at the word that I highlighted here. Qualify as much as possible. Qualify that you don't want to leave it vague or ambiguous. You want to always measure your results, okay, so that they are able to visualize what you were able to do in terms of accuracy, efficiency, and all of that. So as a result, we've got blah 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 blah. For digital marketers, you say as a result of the campaign I ran, we're able to generate over 50 leads and we got 5 new signups in 2 days or in 48 hours, however you want to put it. All right. So why use the STAR method? It shows employers how you think, act, and deliver results. It also keeps your answers structured, clear, and memorable. Now, guys, this particular question or this particular method, you will be required to apply them on every interview. Why? Because recruiters will always want to know who you are, what you have done, your skills and achievements, and they'll also want to be able to know how you are able to approach problems, when it comes to your role. All right. So now the key difference, just quickly highlighted, the SEEK method, who you are. It's like a pitch, like a 5 minute pitch or an intro into what you do, who you are. Then the STAR method, how you handle situation, all right, behavioral answers in your role. And these are things that you need to really pay attention to because they are key. They are key to landing any job. All right, if they see that you are a problem solver and you are able to clearly communicate your skills, your efficiency, your proficiency in a very, in a very short, concise manner, they will just look at you as the valuable person that they'll be looking for them. So well done, guys. I hope we're following me. If you're following me to this point, please give me a thumbs up. This document will be shared with us, definitely. Now let's look at possible question and answer that you ask in an interview, so that now this document, of course, will be shared so that you can prepare ahead of time and all of that. Now, this is a prompt that you can easily put in ChatGPT or AI that helps generate, possible questions that you can prepare and plan for. So if you are, maybe for instance, next week or next 2 weeks, you land an interview, how do you prepare? You can come copy this prompt, paste it on ChatGPT, and then you can prepare with it. So you just need to edit the prompt to suit your specific role that you applied for. If it's copywriting, you edit here, you put the company and all of that. Now let's look at the questions in overview. Joanne, your hand is up. Please go ahead and speak before I continue.
Okay, so I wanted to ask a question. Like when we get like we apply for jobs and we have like interviews and all of that, would we be the ones to like would we be given options for like timing? Will the interviewer be the one to like tell us, okay, this is the time you're coming up, or this is when you're having this interview, or like we have to be flexible enough to like almost work with our schedules if possible?
Okay, so rarely would a recruiter work with your schedule. All right, they always tell you the time that you'll be interviewed. All right, they always communicate via your email. So you want to always, you know, if you're actively applying for jobs, you want your eyes to be on your email. I missed a good job opportunity because I wasn't reading my email. So recruiters will always tell you, oh, you're being interviewed on Saturday by 9 a.m. You're being interviewed on Monday by 2 p.m. Okay. But um you can always try to do something. You can always try to reach out. If, for instance, something happens and you are not able to show up for that interview, you want to communicate beforehand, not 10 minutes to the time or 30 minutes to the time. You want to communicate an hour, 3 hours before time to the recruiter and kindly state, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to meet up with the interview time. An unforeseen situation happened. Everybody knows that it's live. You communicate clearly via an email, and then I've tried that, it worked well. They had to now reschedule to their own convenience time, not your own convenience time, but at least they rescheduled to another time and were able to have the interview. So I hope that answered your question, Joanne.
Yes, ma, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So let's have Ruth. Ruth, please, you can go ahead with your question.
Okay. My question is,
Ruth,
what
I can
if
hardly hear you, please.
can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Uh-huh. My question is, let me say that you did not remember to send a thank you message to the interviewer, and you remember it the next day. Can you like send it back or just forget about it?
I didn't get you. I don't know if you're speaking into an
I
earpiece or
said,
something.
I said, if you just finished doing an interview and you forgot to send a thank you message to the interviewer, and you remember it, let me just say you did an interview yesterday and you remember it today, can you send it again or just forget about it?
Please, by all means, you can send it. So you need to exhaust all, let's say, strategies. Okay. So if you did your interview tonight and maybe you forgot to send your thank you email, and you remember the next day, please send it. It also serves as a follow-up if you've not received feedback from them. So yes, you can send it. No issues there. No issues there. Okay. Yeah, Ruth, well done.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So yeah. So this is it. Now this is just like a simulation that anybody can use to prepare for an interview. Okay. Based off the like basic questions that we have researched and found that you would usually be asked in an interview. So when you get your hands on this document, you want to go through it and consume it properly for yourself and craft out your own answers that's suitable for each of these questions. So the first thing here is tell us about yourself. Now remember, SEEK method. Now I want you to type in the chat box what SEEK stands for. SEEK, SEAT. What does S stand for? What does E stand for? What does A stand for? And what does T stand for? Let's type it in. Let's type it in as quickly as possible. We'll just wait a minute for that. Annabelle, great response. Lovely. Yes. You all guys are following. Following. Great one. So yes, SEEK record, skills, experience, achievements, training. Thank you, Joanne. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I did that so that I can actually know that, oh, yes, we are following. You want to keep that at the back of your mind. You don't want to forget what that stands for. All right. So tell us about yourself. So this is just a simulated response. Elisha, great, Ruth, great. Okay. So yeah, a simulated response. I studied economics, which built my understanding in market trends, customer behavior, and data presentation. Now, this person has highlighted their skills. Lovely, Oladeji. Oh, nice to have you here. Lovely response. This person has highlighted their skills, following the SEEK method. Three skills here: market trend, consumer behavior, data in, interpretation. Now, this is based off the requirements of that role. That's why this person highlighted this. All right. So for every role, you want to highlight key skills required. Now, she now went on to talk about her experience. So my experience includes being a sales executive at Bundles, a yogurt company where I exceeded weekly targets. Now, this person went ahead to talk about her experience and achievements, experience and achievements. Okay. Where was I? Exceeded weekly target consistently, and learned the importance of consumer psychology. I also worked as a sales recorder and customer service specialist, which honed my skills in communication, problem solving, and customer relationship management. Now, she went ahead to talk about her academics, training, and all of that. Recently, I transitioned into digital marketing through online courses. For you, you talk about future, the things you have learned. I've learned content creation, content strategy. Now I'm excited to apply both my academic background and field experience to help the company you're applying to reach and engage learners across digital platforms. Trust me, if somebody says this particular thing to me, you know, in an interview, I will hire the person straight up. I won't even, because the person is not fidgeting, the person follows this particular strategy. I will just say, oh, let's shut down and just hire this person. I'm kidding. But it just sets you on the right foot, you know. Now, the next question is, why do you want to work as a digital marketer? Now, your answer could be like this: I'm passionate about education, believe in the power of accessible learning. Now, this answer comes because the person has researched about the company. Then you just simply say, oh, you're passionate about what the company does. If the company is in tech, you say you're passionate about that. If the company is into education, you just say that. If the company is into, sales, marketing, catering, however the case is, do your findings. Talk about how that it aligns with your values at that time, and you're looking to bring your creativity, to thrive in their workspace. And then next question, how does your economic background help in marketing? So basically, if you read through this, you will see how she was able to marry our background in economics. So if for you know, if you're a VA or if you are an accountant or a banker or a social media manager and you're asked this kind of question, or if you studied this management in school or something, and you're asked this question, this is a guide that helps you, marry your experience with whatever profession that you are going into, and then your different questions and answers here that we can approach every question with. So this question 5, very significant. Describe a time you had to convince the customer to make a purchase. Now this is a behavioral question that requires the STAR method. STAR stands for what? What does STAR stand for, guys? Waiting for our responses. Come on, come on, come on. What does STAR stand for? Thank you. Thank you so much for that response. Yeah, lovely, lovely. Yes, so Annabelle, Joanne, Ololade, Oladeji, great responses. Elisha, lovely. I love it. Well done, guys. You are really following. Okay. So you would want to talk about the situation, the task, talk about, the action you took and then the result. Well done. All right, so this is a document. You can go through it at any time. It will be made accessible to you for your perusal. Thank you so much, Ruth, for that feedback. All right, so one thing I'll be leaving with you, because we are way past our time, one thing I'll be leaving with you is that for every interview that you go into, you want to prepare. Do not wing it. Research about the company, gather your findings, gather um, information that will help you ace that interview. Get your strategies in place, understand every method and how you can use to answer the basic questions. So let's look at that one more time. I just want to, all right, so these are common questions. Tell us about yourself. Why do you want to work here? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Tell us about a time. Tell us about a challenge you faced. Where do you see yourself in 3 years? All right. So look through all of this. Ensure that you are answering the question properly and promptly, and you are not, deviating away from the methods that have been shared with you. It just helps makes everything easy. Okay. So we're 7 minutes out. I want to take questions before I call it quits. Do I have questions from anybody or anyone? Okay, please go ahead, Ruth. Okay. Yeah, Ruth, you can speak. Then we can have other days. Yeah, Ruth, if you're speaking, you're muted.
No, I did not raise my hand. It was a mistake.
Okay, no problem. So yes,
But
already please go ahead.
the question is not even about this thing. My own is this our course. The place that we are doing the course, that is the website. Is it still gonna be on from now? Let me just say, on Sunday. Like, are we still going to have access to that?
Okay, yes, very good question. And yes, fortunately for everybody, you would have access to the LMS even during your internship and all of that. Okay, you will be notified when you're taking off the LMS. So utilize the long time that you still have with the videos up in there and all of that. So that also
Uh,
answers Annabelle's question. So
oh,
Oladipo, you can go ahead and speak.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, ma.
Hi, good evening.
Please, it's not a question. I just want to notify that I've sent my link to the group and I've not gotten a feedback from you, ma.
Okay, I think I missed that message. I apologize. You want to please just
All right, ma.
want to tag me on the message? I might have missed it. I apologize for that.
All right, ma. All right,
Yeah,
ma.
and that reminds me, all of us are owing me LinkedIn profiles, CVs. In fact, I've not seen anybody's CV, so everybody's owing me. CV. Eh? What's going on there? Portfolios. I've seen two, just two portfolios. Annabelle is laughing. I don't know why Annabelle is laughing. You are moving into internship, and these are the key things you'll be using during these 4 weeks with us in the internship. And you need, in fact, it is more than a need. You should have gotten those things ready as at last month. So Olade, thank you. I will look through that and give you a good feedback. And then all of us who have not
All right,
turned
thank
in,
you, ma.
yeah, lovely. All of us who haven't turned in all these necessary things, please do. Okay, you will definitely be moved out from your group chat to the internship group by tomorrow. So right in there, I want to see your portfolio because that's basically the first tax, for the internship. Now I want you guys to take it so seriously. This weekend there will be no Q&A on Saturday, so use this time from tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, before Monday, and clean up all that you have left. Your portfolios, your CVs, clean it up. If you've not done your LinkedIn, you're way behind. Clean it up. I know that some people had issues with their LinkedIn profile being disabled and all of that. But as much as possible, try to always work around every situation so that you can meet your goals. All right. So Monday would be like an onboarding. Monday or Tuesday will be an onboarding for you guys into the internship. So we'll meet again then. It will not be me, but guys, still show up strong because we're gonna be a notch higher. So ensure you have all this your LinkedIn profile done, your portfolios and CVs. I've been singing it like a song from the beginning of this program till now. Okay, and then another thing I want to sing is the brands that you are managing or handling or writing for. I want to actually see them. Okay. I'm not saying, okay, I think I've seen one screenshot. I've not seen any other person drop a screenshot of, oh, this is the brand I'm working on, this is the copy I'm written. I'm not seeing any of that. I don't know what we are waiting for. We shouldn't wait. Remember what I said at the beginning, there's no perfect time. You will never feel like you have learned enough. You will never feel like you are, ready, completely ready. But take the steps necessary. You learn on the go. You keep learning, as you keep doing. So I want to see, the brands, the pages, because I know that in fact 80% of us have brands that we are working with. I want to see the results so far, the things that we've done so far. And if you have questions, if you need support somewhere, I'm happy to provide that. But if I don't see what you're doing, I don't know how to comment. Okay. So I look forward to our responses between now and next week Tuesday or next week Monday. So that will be all from me. And I will definitely miss everybody. I miss singing the songs of optimize this, optimize that. And I'm honestly very, proud of everybody that has stayed through the training. Like there are consistent faces or like a consistent name here, that I know that for these people always they don't miss any session. They don't miss any session. Okay. And I really appreciate you all guys. Miss Tura, um, Ruth, always in it. Ololade, Matthew, Covenant. You guys are always showing up for sessions and yeah, who else? Who am I not missing? In fact, everybody on the call is okay. Hope had an issue with his number. Elisha. Joanne, you guys have always been, shown a lot of seriousness. And trust me, we're taking notes. When it's time to give out certificates, we know the people who show up, we know the people who follow through. Okay, so that's why I keep encouraging you, because future you will not give out our certificate to people who are not following through the program. Okay, but you guys here have actually showed seriousness. So please ensure that you finish for everything that you have left. All right, as you move on to your internship. I think I've spoken too much, but yeah, do well to drop feedbacks for us. um, you'll be encouraged, or you are encouraged. This is a personal, let's say, personal request now from your coach. You're encouraged to, drop testimonials about the your whole journey with us. You can drop it as a text message. You can drop it as a voice recording, or you can drop it as a video. Okay. And I know some people might say, "Oh, a video. I don't show up my face," but we would love to, showcase you on our page as our standout student. So Ruth, I would love to even have a video from you. I would love to have a video from Ololade. I would love to have a video from um who's that person now? Covenant. I would love to have a video from all of you, in fact, because you guys are the serious ones and we want to showcase you guys on our page. So when you send in the video, we will edit it, of course, for you, and then we'll feature you guys on our Instagram, LinkedIn, all our social media platforms, and talk about your journey with us and how you're able to hit your goal. Okay, so um, to make it simple, when you're done with the video or the voice notes, whatever you feel comfortable doing, you can send it across. Okay, you can send it to me or on the group chat. You can send it to me, and then we take it up from there, and we'll be tagged and all of that. Okay, so it's just basically a good way to showcase that, oh, this person is now positioning as a top leader in their field, and future has been part of their journey. So that being said, looking forward to the next chapter with all of us. Let's have a good evening and enjoy the rest of you. Bye, everybody.